All right, guys, here we go. So I got this review for test 24. Put the formulas on here already, so we can make the video a little quicker, but let's just read through these things. Number one says find the amount of an annuity that consists of 20 semi-annual payments of $500 each into an account that pays 6% interest per year, compounded semi-annually. Okay, so got the formula up there. So it wants to know what the final amount of that annuity would be. So the payment, which is R, is 500, so then put 5 from the front. 1 plus I. Now the I is tricky here. The I, remember, is per period. So it says 6% per year, compounded semi-annually. So I'm going to do 0.06 divided by 2, which give me 0.03. N is how many times the payments are made. They're made 20 times, minus 1 over the 0.03 in the bottom. We're just going to punch that straight into the calculator. I want to do that. I'm getting 13,435 and 19 cents. You should get the exact same thing. All right, number two, what is the monthly payment on a 30-year mortgage of $375,000 at 7.5% interest? What is the monthly payment on this mortgage to be repaid over 15? Oh, so we're going to do 130. There's two questions here, 130 and 115. So let's go 30 first. So for the 30, the payment would be the interest rate. Now the interest rate is 7.5%, and you got to divide that by 12 because remember with mortgage interest, it's based on the month. So you pay interest monthly on the amount you owe monthly. So my interest rate is actually 0.00625. I can't write 0.00625. And AP stands for the mortgage amount, which is $375,000 over 1 minus 1 plus, which would really be 1.00625. Negative N. Now 30 years is 360 payments. Okay, so I'm going to punch that in. And for that payment, I'm getting 26.22 and 5 cents. And then for the 15-year, we do the exact same thing. Really, I don't need to write this all over again. All I'm going to change for my second answer for the 15-year period is change how many payments I make. So all this is still the same interest rate, same everything, except instead of having 360 payments, I only have 180 payments. Now, you need to expect the payments to be more, but gosh, you're going to save so much interest over the course of that loan. And I'm getting 3,476 and 30 cents, but it is the payment's $800 more, which is significant, but paying off your loan 15 years ahead of time and saving, gosh, probably a couple $100,000 of interest. Well worth it if you can afford to do that. Okay, how much money should be invested every month, compounded quarterly to have 6,000? Okay, so this one we want to end up with 6,000. That's the final amount, 6,000. I want to know how much I have to put in every month, and I'm going with 1 plus the rate. Now the rate's 10% compounded quarterly, so I'm doing 0.10 divided by 4 for quarterly and getting 0.025. That is raised to the, how many payments we got? We got every month for 24 months. So that's 24 payments minus 1 over 0.025. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch this whole thing in right here and then divide that into 6,000 and see what I get. And it looks like I'm going to have to put in about $185.48 every month for 24 months to get up to $6,000 at that rate. Number 4, find the amount of annuity that consists of 25 annual payments, 2,000 each, that pays 12% interest per year. So let's keep on going. Okay. So I need the final amount. I'm making $2,000 payments. 1 plus the interest rate. Interest rate is 12%. It's just compounded per year, so I'm going 0.12. And there's 25 payments minus 1. I'm putting 0.12 down there. And again, just punch it straight in the calc. Getting a pretty good return here, $266,667.74. Pretty good. And the last one of these, number 5, what is the present value? So it's a different formula, present value of an annuity that consists of 10 semi-annual payments invested of $3,000, interest rate of 8%. So the present value, the payment is $3,000. 1 minus 1 plus I. The interest rate is 8%, and it is just 8%. So I'm going to go 1.08. How many payments? We had 10 semi-annual payments. Should be negative 10 there, and then 0.08 in my denominator. And again, one more time, I'm going to punch that in. And it looks like I'm coming up with $20,130.24 for the present value. All right, number 6, is it geometric? Okay, let's check the R. It looks like it's multiplying by a fourth. Yep, it's geometric. So the answer is just, yep. That was a quick one. Number 7, this one's telling you it's geometric. Determine a common ratio, the fifth term and the nth term of the geometric. Okay, let's go slow here. First of all, the ratio. The ratio is what they're multiplying by, which again, just like the last problem, they're multiplying by 1/4. Okay, now the fifth term, guys, they gave you the first 4. So I'm just going to multiply by 1/4 again and get -5/64. And then the nth term. The nth term, remember, just write the formula. The first term is -20. R is 1/4 to the n minus 1 power. That's the nth term. That's all you got to do. Number 8. The first term of the geometric sequence is 9, and the fourth term is 1/3. Find the sixth term. Okay, the fourth term is 1/3. Remember, I can do this as long as, I'm using what they gave me. They gave me the first term and the fourth term. And those terms are related. Remember, as long as these two numbers on this side add up to be that number down there, I can use whatever I want. So A1 times R cubed is A to the fourth. Here's what I know. I know that A to the fourth, the fourth term is 1/3, and I know the first term is 9. What I really need to figure out is what in the world R is. So let's see if I can figure that out. So I'm going to divide by 9. If I divide by 9, that gives me 1/27. If I take the cube root, it gives me 1/3. So there's my R, which is important. So if I'm going to find the sixth term, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do A6. I know the fourth term, so I'm going to do fourth term times R squared, because 4 plus 2 is 6. So the sixth term is going to be the fourth term, which is 1/3, times R, which is also 1/3 squared. So really that's 1/3 cubed, all right, which is 1/27. That's not a very good 120. I need to do that again. That's 1/27 is the sixth term. All right, number 9 says find the sum. The way you find the sum of the geometric is you need this right here. The formula is the first term times 1 minus R to the n over 1 minus R. And here's what I know. I know the first term is 1. I know what R is. I can tell by looking the R is -1/2. You should use parentheses there. -1/2. What I don't know is my n. I need to figure out what my n is. And here's the deal. I know that's my last term. And here's my formula. A(n) is the first term times R to the n minus 1. So I'm going to take that last term, which is -1 over 5/12. That equals my first term times R. I didn't do that. R to the n minus 1. So, what is my R? I do know my R. Sorry about that. My R is actually -1/2. So 1 -1/2 to the n minus 1. So really what I'm doing right here, just stay with me as I talk, so I'm not going to show you much. I need to figure out what I'm going to raise 1/2 to get 1 over 5/12. Now, I'm not going to be honest. I'm not going about the ones. 1 to whatever power is going to be 1. That's no big deal. I got to figure out how many times 2 to what power is 5/12. So I'm going to take my calculator and start punching that in, like 2 to the 12th, too big, 2 to the 9th. There it is. It's 9th, which means that exponent, that n minus 1 right there, has got to be 9, which means my n is going to be 10, which tells me that term right there, I'll do that arrow to, that's the 10th term, which means there's 10 terms. So I'm going to put a 10 right there. And once you get that number, now you can punch it in your calculator. Okay, punch it on the calculator, hit math frac, because I'll really have a fraction. Since the sequence is written in fractions, you want to put a fraction answer here. I'm getting 341 over 5/12. Hope that helps. Let's change colors for number 9. I'll say number 10. Number 10 is the sigma. I'm going to use the same exact formula, so I'm going sum. There's 7 terms. The first term, you plug in 0 right there, and if I plug in 0, 1/2 to the 0 power is 1. 1 times 4 is 4, so 4 is the first term. R is always whatever's in your, whatever's raised to the power. On my denominator, I get 1/2. Now, because I'm going from 0 to 6, that's actually 7 terms. To find out how many terms there are, you do the top number, the 6, minus the bottom number, 0, and you add 1 back. 6 minus 0 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And one more time, I keep saying one more time, I'm going to punch all that in, see what I get. And when I punch it in and change it to a fraction, I'm looking at 127 over 16 for number 10. All right, number 11, determine if you can do number 11, first of all. Is it convergent or divergent? If it is, find the sum. I'm sitting there looking at this one. I got to find R, right? I'm looking at it. The way you find R, remember, is you put the second term on top of the first term. And when I do that, that's keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep, change, flip. That's 2, that's 5. R is 2/5, which means you can do it. So the formula for infinite, so before I write that, that means it is convergent. It's converging onto some number. Got to figure out which one. So I'm going to do the first term over 1 minus R, which is also 2/5, which gives me 2/5 over 3/5. And if I keep change flip there, I get 2/5 times 5/3. 5's cancel. 2/3. Number 12. Combine this expression using log. So what I want to do is I'll take all those and write one log. Remember, the number in the front's the exponent, so let's take care of those first. That's going to be x to the 4th. That 1/3 means cube root. Bottom is a root, top is the power. That 2 in the front means square. And then you got to remember this. Everything that's positive stays on your numerator. Everything that's negative goes in your denominator. So I'm going to put 1 log. I'm going to put the x to the 4th and the x minus 1 squared in my numerator because they're both positive. And I'm going to put the cube root of x plus 1 in my denominator. This is the one time you're allowed to leave the cube root down there if you want to. So there. All right, number 13. Write using sigma. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to put an n or x or whatever on the bottom. N is 1. It's going 3, 6, 9. Okay, here's what's happening. Okay, it's going 3, 6. So that's 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4. So that's 3n. The last term is 33. What would you plug in for n to get 33? 11. So I'm putting 11 on my numerator. And 14, last one. How long would it take $8,000 to double with an interest rate of 7% compounded monthly? A lot of money on this test. So here's our formula in case it's been a while. A equals P, 1 plus R over N to the NT power. That's compound interest. Let's see. I'm starting with 8,000. If it doubles, I'm going to end up with 16,000. 1 plus the rate is 0.7 is 7%. A compounded monthly, that's 12, and my exponent's going to be 12t. That's a t. All right. Divide first. I'm going to divide that 8,000 into 16,000. That's 2,000. Go ahead also and add what's in your parentheses. Sorry about that, taking a second. I'm getting this when I add that up, 1.0058 to the 12t power. Now, to get that exponent out, I'm going to have to do log both sides. Of course, I'm going to do ln, so I'm going to do natural log 2, put that 12t in front, natural log 1.0058. And I'm going to divide both sides by, first I'm going to do two things. I'm doing natural log 2 divided by natural log 1.0058, hitting enter. Then I'm dividing by 12. I'm just dividing twice. You don't have to do it that way, but sometimes it's better for me. So I'm getting 9.988 years. I probably should just put 10 years on that. I probably should round that to 10 years. All right. Hope that helps. Hope you do great tomorrow. Be ready. Talk to you then.